Hi, Kornelious here. I know you ain't seen me in a while. It's my summer attire. Hope you like it. Today I want to discuss with you another hazard in the wild here at Coppers. What is it, you may ask? Well, it's hazardous waste. Hazardous waste is a waste that has properties that make it potentially dangerous or harmful to human health or the environment. Hazardous waste must be liquids or solids or containerized gases. To help us in the management of hazardous waste is RCRA. Yeah, you heard that right, RCRA. RCRA. That stands for the Resource and Recovery Act. This law tells us how to manage and dispose of waste generated. RCRA was designed to do three things: protect human and health and the environment. You know I love my creeks, my lakes, and my pond now. Reduce waste and conserve energy and natural resources is another one. And the third is to reduce or eliminate the generation of hazardous waste. One thing to note here is any waste we generate here at Coppers is always our waste. It's called cradle to grave, which means the waste generated that we generate here is always ours and must be managed in its entirety. And I think I'm laying in a fire ant bed. Hold on. Alright now, I'm at a better location away from them fire ants. So how do we know what is a hazardous waste or not? Well, first, at waste you have to determine that the material can no longer be used for its intended purposes. For example, let's say you got a can of gasoline you left outside with the cap off and it rained in it. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Well, you can't use that no more. Well, guess what? That's going to become a hazardous waste because of its ignitable waste characteristics. To normally determine if you have a hazardous waste, it'll either be an EPA listed waste or it'll have to have a hazardous waste characteristic. Listed wastes are divided into 4 classes: F and K listed, U listed, and P listed. That's a lot of letters. But these lists are all certain groups of chemicals that the EPA has deemed as hazardous official waste. If the waste isn't in one of those lists, then you have to see if it fits a characteristic of a hazardous waste. Those characteristics are ignitability, which is a D001, which is generally liquids with flash points less than 140 degrees Fahrenheit, or it can be a corrosive waste, that's D002. That's wastes that have a pH of less than 2 or greater than 12.5. Reactive waste, which is a D003, are those that can react with water or air and explode or give off toxic gases. And then there's toxic waste. It can range from D004 to D043. These are wastes that, if disposed of, may leach constituents into the ground. Many times you can characterize a waste by its SDS sheet. But if you have an unknown mixture, you may have to send a sample to the lab to have it analyzed for these characteristics. We have to perform a waste characterization to determine if the waste we generate is hazardous. When you generate hazardous waste, you're considered a generator. Pretty dadgum simple, ain't it? But you are a large quantity generator, a small quantity, or a conditionally exempt. What are you? We here at Rock Hill have determined we are a conditionally exempt small quantity generator. That means we produce less than 220 pounds of waste per month. So what's that mean for us here at Coppers? Well, we need to make sure all our containers used to store hazardous waste are free from rust, cracks, or dents. Containers must be compatible with all our products, and we don't want them containers looking like Cooter Bob Brown's dental work, do we? They must be closed at all times other than when you're filling them, and they have to be marked with the words hazardous waste. Satellite accumulation areas near the point of generation, that allow you to dispose of waste where you generate it at the site. You can only store up to 55 gallons of non-acute waste per stream at this area. Once containers at your satellite accumulation areas are full, they must be moved to the hazardous waste storage area, and the date that is moved is placed on the label. What about containers? When are they considered empty? Well, Any non-acute waste in a container is considered empty when all the waste have been removed from them using common practices such as pouring, pumping, or draining, and no more than 1 inch, that's 1 inch of material remains in the container. No more than 3% by weight of the container remains on those containers that hold over 110 gallons or less. Next thing I want to go over is used oil. Used oil must be managed as well. They must be clearly marked with the words used oil. The containers must be in good condition. They must be sealed unless physically adding or removing oil, and they must be stored indoors, and they must be stored on an impervious surface. That's a fancy word for concrete. The last waste we need to go over is what I like to call the universal waste. Universal waste are waste that are 6 waste streams that can be generally recycled. They are batteries, mercury-containing equipment and thermostats, lamp bulbs such as fluorescent, mercury, or neon, used electronics, and certain pesticides. We can store universal waste up to 1 year from the date of the start of its generation. A date should be placed on a container when it's first deemed a universal waste. Containers must be closed in a structural sound container capable of preventing leakage, compatible with its contents. Fluorescent bulbs must be placed in containers that house them completely and are able to be sealed. And universal waste must be labeled with the words universal waste, waste, or used with the contents that's going in. Alright, now, we talked about RCRA, hazardous waste, waste code, satellite accumulation, used oil, and universal waste. That's a lot to talk about, but it's a very important topic. We all have to do our part, eliminating our waste streams where we can, and properly managing those that we cannot eliminate altogether. So hopefully with this training, we will now understand RCRA and the steps to manage our waste here at Coppers Rock Hill. Kornelious signing off, reminding you to keep your eyes on the path to safety, because you never know what dangers lurking around that corner. God dog, I thought that was a snake right there.
What up?
Wasn't nothing but a stick. Alright, never mind this here. Up on him. You got a snake. Oh, what's that? Oh, ain't nothing. You think it's hazards in the wild up in here. You don't know. you don't know. Damn, it's wet. It's wet. Them complete. Daggum phone. Containers must be. Really? I gotta go off now. Cornelious here. I got a stick in my ear. Kornelious here. The heck?